Thank you everyone for joining us here today at Levittown Public Library, Igaski with Kimberly Sabat. Today is Monday, October 18th, 2021, approximately 11 a.m. Go ahead, Kim.
Thank you. Now it's 11:03. Okay, guys, good to see you back. We are going to do a tough menu today. We haven't done it in the past, but it's a good one. It's a good one. And we're not going to use too many things today. We're just going to use the body. I don't even see us using any pillows or any straps or anything like that. We're going to do the pain-free advanced. For some of you that are new, some of these moves may be challenging to you. I'll give you as many modifications as I can. If something's not working out for you, just skip it. We're not going to stay in a move too long anyway, but you may find a sequence of moves in the hour that we're together that may work for you and give you some relief or complete relief. It's happened in the past. We're going to come to a standing position, everybody. We're going to start out with some arm circles. And I'm going to come close to the camera so you can see. Some of you are new. There's a hand position that you take with these. So you're going to take your hands into fists, and then you're going to flatten out your fists. So I'll do that again. You take your hands into fists and then flatten out the fists. So this is what it's going to look like. This might be tough for some of you to achieve, but this is called the modified golf grip. And when we do arm circles, in whatever position we do them in, we're going to take the hands into that grip. Pants are doing some funny stuff. Okay. So I want everybody to come to a standing position. Make sure you got some space because we're going to be doing some stuff with the arms. I want you to keep your feet hip distance, which is about the length of a dollar bill, right between the hip joints, the knees, and the centers of the ankles. Another way to figure that out is put your fist in between your big toes. You want a little bit of space in between there, and that's hip distance for your feet. Take that funky grip that I just showed you with your hands, the modified golf grip, and drop your arms. You're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back. So I'm just going to draw my shoulders back. I'm going to show you guys how some of you might actually cheat on that one. It's not this, it's this. So don't try to do a back bend for me. That's not what you want to do. So keep the shoulder blades pinned, bring your arms out. If this hurts your arms to stay out here, just bring them lower or completely skip it. We're going to circle up and forward 40 times. Keep your shoulders pinned together. And the other key is let your belly hang out. You really got to let go of your belly on this one. What we're going after is the muscles that connect through into your hips. And if you're holding your belly tight, if you're sucking it in, those muscles are not going to be able to get recruited. We're circling so quickly and steadily that your body is actually waving back and forth. You guys feel that? That's what you want to do. We're going to put the palms up now. My thumbs point back. I'm still squeezing my shoulders back. I'm going to circle up and back. This is not an easy move, especially when I came off of like that shoulder surgery. Ugh, I couldn't even get this done. So do what you can, even if you skip it. Again, this is the pain-free advanced routine, which doesn't mean that beginners can't do it. It's just going to be challenging and good. Challenge yourself. Keep your feet pointed straight ahead. I want you guys to keep them parallel while we go through this move. If you feel like you're going to fall over, just hang on to something, come close to something. But we're going to do side leg raises while we stand. So I'm lifting my leg out to the side, but watch, when I lift the leg out to the side, I'm not rotating through my hip. If I did that, it would look like this. My feet are no longer parallel. I don't want you to do that. Keep them parallel. Lift. So as you lift your leg out to the side, what's actually happening is we're holding an internal rotation from your hip, and you probably feel a whole lot of that right where your front pocket would be if you were wearing jeans. I'm going to switch to the other side. Again, I'm focusing on keeping my toes down and almost lifting with my heel. That's what's going to keep my feet parallel. It's not about how high you lift the leg. We'll switch back to the first leg again. I'm going to switch again, last time. People used to upload this. This actually comes from the pain-free DVD series, which you can get at some of the libraries. Someone, or a few people, have uploaded it onto YouTube, but it is a copyright infringement, so they kept yanking it. But you may now and then be able to look it up on YouTube, and you'll find the beginner version, and you'll also find the advanced version, which is the one that we're doing today. See, look how advanced this is, right? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of that word advanced. We're going to come into standing elbow curls. The feet are still in that hip distance position. Take a modified golf grip once again. A funny thing I showed you. You're going to keep your knuckles attached to your temples. The other thing you're going to do is keep your wrists flat and straight. Do not bend them. This is a shoulder movement. Open all the way. Close until your elbows touch if you can, but don't cheat. So if you hit here and your shoulder just doesn't want to complete the movement, don't bend your wrists to finish the movement. The point of this is to remind your shoulder how to work properly. Wrists must not bend, period. Keep a strong modified golf grip. Keep your knuckles attached to your temples. One of my clients, we get through maybe 2 or 3 of these and her hands down here. What are you doing? We've been working together for over 5 years. Get it together. Keep smacking her. Put your hand on your head. So keep that in mind, everybody. Keep that in mind. We're going to move on to standing windmill. You do not have to do this against the wall. I know a lot of you don't have a wall, including me, because I got the baseboard heater right here. So I cannot back myself up against the wall. So I'm going to do it freestanding in the middle of the room. But I want you to pretend as if the wall is behind you. I'm going to bring my arms out to a T and pretend my thumb and my pinky are grazing the wall. I'm going to start out with my feet pointed straight ahead. And I'm leaning over from my waist. I'm catching some of you already going into the cheat. Oh, you cleaned it up. Good for you. Tendency is for people to move through their shoulders. No. Keep your arms out at a T, or if that hurts, bring them lower or put your hands on your waist. But this is a movement through your waist, not through the shoulders. Not through the shoulders. So I don't care where the heck your arms are, but you must be moving through your waist. The point of this move is to actually reduce rotation. So a lot of us are walking around with some sort of rotation, a shoulders forward or a hips forward. This move is actually going to connect your shoulders to your hips again and get that twist out of your body. That's why trapping yourself against a wall is going to be even more beneficial if you have the ability to do it. I'm going to stance the feet out even wider. I'm going about 1.5 feet to 2 feet wide. Feet are still parallel. Yes, good question. Feet are still parallel. And as we stance the legs out wider, what we're doing is adding more load in a different position. So we're recruiting different muscles and asking the hips and the pelvis to work in a different way. That way, when we come back to our original standing position, new muscles have turned on. Stance out even wider. Wide as you can go, but stay in control. After this, we're going to get down onto the floor and do some cats and dogs and some stretches, and then we're going to turn up the heat again. We're going to skip our 4th position because this actually is a long routine. And the 4th position is just going to tell us, hey, that what we did just worked. So I'm going to take you down to hands and knees now. Can't do hands and knees, you can certainly sit in a chair and get this done. All we're doing is rounding the back and arching the back. Cats and dogs. While you're doing cats and dogs, whether you're sitting in a chair doing this with your hands on your thighs, or if you're on the floor doing this, maybe you even have your hands in fists because your wrists are talking to you today. That's okay. But whatever you're doing, I want you to try to initiate this move from your hips, from your pelvis. I want your head to be the last thing that makes the movement. Do not begin the movement with your head. Big difference. Great. I'm going to take you into hip crossover stretch. This move can be done sitting in a chair. All you're doing is sitting in a chair and crossing your leg over, and you can twist your body. That's all. So that's a modification. Everybody else, we're hitting the floor. 1 minute. Just move my hair a little bit here. I'm going to bring the arms out to a T with the palms face down. This is to help keep your shoulders involved here. I'm going to keep my knees bent. I am at hip distance again with my feet. So it looks like this. Let's cross the left leg, and the ankle touches the knee. It's a nice triangular keyhole in between. You must keep that. Now, a lot of you cheat on this one and you slide your foot across the floor. Don't you dare do that on me. So we're going to twist the lower half of the body until the legs come towards the floor, but I'm keeping my shoulder on the floor. That's not easy for some of you. If that's too tough for you to do and your shoulder is lifting or you feel too tight, maybe your legs hang out in the middle right here. That's okay too. Maybe it's so difficult for you to do just to cross the ankle to the knee that you just want to hang out there. You can hang out here if you're feeling really tight. You don't have to add that extra twist to the movement. And this is our hip crossover stretch. I'm not letting my knee fall towards my body. I'm actually trying to point my knee towards the ceiling. So you'll feel that work right where your front pocket would be. Again, you're going to feel that stretch, but the movement should be done by the glute. Should be done by the glute. So your butt cheek should be doing the work to point your knee towards the ceiling. That doesn't mean that this is a glute squeeze. But if you feel like all that work is coming from your thigh, then that's a great key that your body is probably in compensation. These are just little things that you'll learn about your body as you go through these moves. If I drop a hint to you what muscles are recruited while we do the moves, it helps you figure out where you're at. Switch to the other side. Make sure before you do your switch that you clean yourself up with your form. I'm resetting my feet, keeping them parallel, putting them hip distance, then doing the crossover. And then I add the twist. Hip crossover stretch. I know this part seems really easy now and it feels really good, but this is the pain-free advanced menu and it's going to get hard. It's going to get hard. Really challenging moves in here. And what I've been noticing over the past few weeks, and I've said this months ago, a lot of times doing these easy peasy moves, it's not enough to force the body to do its work so that it holds the alignment for the next day or couple of days. Sometimes we need really strong moves for the body to wake up, hold the new alignment, and keep you more pain-free throughout the week. So I could do reverse presses and pullovers all I want for my arm, but really what keeps it in a good position is push-ups. I know it stinks. It stinks, but I actually have to do push-ups in order to keep my arm in place. So we're going to go to hip lift, everybody. This is not an easy move. Again, if this is too difficult, just relax and skip it. We're going to make this move not only difficult, but even more challenging. Coming back to the hip crossover stretch beginning position, but leave your arms relaxed. So we're going to work into the hips really good now. You're going to cross let's go left ankle to right knee. Again, if this was tough for you before, you might notice that this got a little easier. If this is as far as you're willing to go, then just hang out here. We're going to increase it. I'm going to pull my right knee towards my chest. And I'm going to pull my left knee away from me towards the wall. So there's this push, pull, give, take here. And I'm just holding. Yes, I'm giving this to you for 1 minute. This is not easy. So if you're having a hard time, you can rest the foot on the floor again. You can work on picking it up a little bit. This is not an easy move. Try not to twist your body in order to get the legs up. If you notice, it's so difficult that your body is contorting. That means that you're compensating. So better to just leave the foot on the floor and pick it up maybe an inch or so off of the floor and work up towards this, rather than ending up in this twisted fashion to try and get something done. We want to pay attention to form. Okay, like I said before, we are going to up the ante here. I want you to interlace your hands behind your head and draw your elbows to the floor. That's a toughie. Pick a spot on the ceiling. No, you know what? We're going to change that. We're going to do oblique twist crunches. So think about reaching your right shoulder to your left knee, not your elbow, but the shoulder. So I want you to keep drawing your elbows back and down while we lift up and twist 10 times. 10, 9. Yes, I am keeping my legs in the same position. 8, 7, 6. Keep drawing your elbows back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yay. Even if you couldn't get 10 out, I don't care. Do 1. Try to do something. We're going to go the other leg, ankle to knee. And if you're ready, pull your left knee towards your chest while your right knee draws away from you. Some of you, if you're new and you realize, oh my goodness, this is so hard. I can't do this at all. This isn't for me. Do not trick yourself into that nasty mindset. This certainly is for you. It's just that you cannot do this yet. Remember, I did give you a modification. So don't tell yourself that this isn't for you. You can leave the foot on the floor and work up towards it. Work up to it. Yes, it's challenging, but I've got to challenge my students who are at that point, who need the challenge. But I also have to make sure I'm speaking to the students who are brand new. So I hope I'm covering the full gamut. Here we go. Interlace hands behind head, elbows back, reach the shoulder towards the knee. Shoulder, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. I know I make it look easy. Even if you do 1, you're good. 3, 2, 1. Relax. How do your hips feel, everybody? You feel that right in here? Maybe even your abs are on. All right, everybody. We're going to skip free crunches for now. I'm going to give you those later. We get them twice in this routine anyway. So I'm going to skip these just for time. Where we're going to go next is flutter kicks. Now, if you're sitting in a chair, I'll show you a modification for it. But when I do it on the floor, I put my hands underneath my butt and I lay back. Now you have the opportunity, if you cannot do flutter kicks, you can't lift your leg up, you can do one leg at a time while leaving the other on the floor. Do something along these lines. But you can definitely get this done sitting in a chair as well. Here's let's say, an easier version of flutter kicks. You could do 10 on one side, 10 on the other side. We're all working into the hips. When I do my flutter kicks, hands go underneath my butt, and I've got my legs up off of the floor. Again, if you can't do that, 1 at a time. I'm going to go for 50. Every 10, I'm going to change the position of my ankles. Here we go. Change. So I'm going from dorsiflexion to plantar flexion, back and forth. My knees stay straight. That's what's going to force my hip to do work. Man, I feel like doing 100 of these. I don't want to do just 50. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was easy. Just a little taste, right? If you want to do 100, you can. I'm going to flip you guys over onto your belly. We're going to do cobra on elbows. Cobra on elbows. Now, the key in this move is to keep the shoulders back and down. So I'm going to keep my forearms parallel. I'm going to take my modified golf grip like I did before. And when I drop in with my shoulders, I'm going to add a little bit of an extra challenge. I'm going to rotate my arms out. I know my left side looks ugly, but I'm going to rotate my arms outward. That's not coming from the radius and ulna, which is the lower half of the arm. It's coming from the shoulder joint, so the humerus. I'm rotating out. So that's the key. So I'm laying on my belly. I don't care if you get this done on a bed. Can't get on the floor, get on the bed. This is no excuses Monday. I just made that up. So I'm going to drop the shoulders in together. Take your modified golf grip. I'm going to rotate the shoulders out. Everybody feel that? Good. I'm going to stay right here. Now here's a kicker. I'm going to add on to this even more if you're ready. My legs are trailing behind me. I'm going to tuck my toes and tighten my thighs. Yes, my belly is still on the floor, but I'm just going to tighten my thighs while I hold myself up on my elbows. So it's like a plank position without really lifting my belly off the floor. Now I'm going to stance my legs out wider. So I'm going to bring my legs out to a split, keep my toes tucked, and tighten my thighs. Woo, really feeling that on my left shoulder. I needed this one. Keep your shoulders back and down. We're going to change the leg position one more time. I want you to bend your knees and touch your feet together. Press your feet together now. Hold. Oh. Feel that work. Oh, you guys would be laughing at me. I'm getting a cramp. Yay for cramps. It's going away now. 10, 9, 8, 7, shoulders back and down. Keep pressing the feet together. 4, 3, 2, 1, relax. Arm, leg opposites. We're going to stay on the belly for now. Arm, leg opposites. Move this sucker out of the way. Okay. Arm, leg opposites. I want you guys to think about joints, your big load-bearing joints. That means shoulder and hip. I'm going to leave my right arm forward. I'm going to bring my, you know what, just so you guys could see for the first one, I'll leave my left arm forward and bring my right arm along my side. This is going to stop me from pushing into the ground with my right arm in order to get this move to work. We're going to go opposite arm to opposite leg, which means left arm lifts and the right leg lifts at the same time. So I'm going to put this together. Arm, leg, and then I switch. Arm, leg, switch. Arm, leg, switch. Switch, back and forth. We're going to get this same routine done on hands and knees if you can muster it. Same idea, except now we're asking the hip to load in a different way. Okay, hands and knees. Arm, leg. If that's too much and you find yourself floundering and you're falling, go ahead and touch the foot down on the floor behind you. You can do that. There's another thing. Put your belly over an ottoman and just work on it from there. Absolutely. In a perfect world, your ankle, knee, and hip are going to be in that same line on the train tracks. We've got one more kind of toughy move, and then we're going to get back into some stretching, and then we'll turn up the heat again. All right, we're going to move on to a downward facing dog, and we're going to hold for 1 minute. Really easy to do. If you can't do it on hands and knees, you can definitely get it done on the wall. Same thing. I'm in the same position here. So put your hands on the wall and stand and walk back. That's a modification you can do. 1 minute. Downward facing dog. Man, is this going to look ugly? Because I've got that shoulder now that does not want to extend overhead as well as it used to. Still working on it. So just do what you can. Everybody's got a different shape. Even if you can hold this for a minute, hold it for 30 seconds, hold it for 10 seconds, do what you can. Come in and out of the move. If you need a break, come back down to your knees. Do that all the time in yoga. It's not about doing the work. It's about keeping yourself in alignment with your intention and with your breath. I always made fun of my yoga students. I was a real tough yoga instructor. You believe it? But I was tough in the way that, hey, was your intention to beat the crap out of yourself and tell yourself that you're no good? If that was your intention, which it never is, it's never anybody's intention. If that was your intention, you got to stay in alignment with it. So I'm going to come down into upper spinal floor twist, friends. You guys are going to like this one. I'm going to lay onto my right side, just so my cues are uniform. I'm going to bring my knees and my hips to 90 degrees. My right hand, I'm going to use that to hold my knees glued together. You don't want the knees to slide. And take my left arm now. I'm keeping it in this beautiful line, wrist, elbow, shoulder, shoulder. So my arm is not going to slide down towards my hips at any point in this move. I'm going to keep it here, and I'm twisting through the spine. 1 minute. Eventually, your arm is going to hit the floor. But I don't want you to do that prematurely. So we want to keep the knees in this beautiful stack. My hand is here to help remind me, keep the knees in stack. Because if I let them slide, my arm and shoulder would hit the floor, no problem. But then my pelvis would almost be on the floor too. So don't cheat. Oh, I forgot to say a modification for this. So if you have a shoulder injury and this hurts, you can rest your hand on your side. That's going to take all the leverage off of your shoulder and give you an easier time. You could also rest your arm on a couch or something like that. I was doing that at one point. Good. Switch to the other side. Okay, upper spinal floor twist on the other side. Just 1 minute, everybody. Remember, try not to let your hand slide towards your butt. All that's going to do is pitch your glenohumeral joint, the shoulder joint, up towards the ceiling. And you're not going to get the stretch that we're looking for into the pecs, into your chest. And we're not going to get the retraction in the shoulder blade that we're looking for either. I'd rather have your arm higher than lower. And you'll feel that difference. You don't believe me? Go ahead and do it. Slide your hand towards your butt and you'll feel your shoulder pitch in a different way. I'm going to do a modified IT band stretch now. Everybody leave your arms nice and relaxed at your sides. I don't care where they go. We're going to bring the ankles and the knees together for this one. I'm going to turn so you can see what I'm doing. This is different and opposite to the hip crossover stretch you're used to. We're going to cross the left leg on top of the right, but keep the thighs touching. If you are flexible enough and you've done this in yoga class, maybe you've done the eagle pose and you could wrap the legs, certainly can do that here if you want to. But we're going to take the knees over to the left. So the left leg wraps on top and your knees drop to the left. This is a modified version of the IT band stretch. If you want a harder stretch, you want a little more, you can do something like this. You can leave the left leg on the floor, put the right leg straight up into the sky, keep it straight, and let the leg drop over. You're going to feel a lot more leverage on the IT band, the iliotibial band over here on the outside of the leg. So that's for you guys who want to go deeper, get a little more, or need that. Again, the modified version is with the legs crossed. Oh, this feels good. I'm just going to stay here. It's tough, but I'm going to stay here because I need it. There's no harm in pushing in through that toughness and feeling the challenge and getting the benefits of it. We can't stay meek forever. If we do, our body spanks us for it. Come on out. If you did the modified version on the one side, we're going to modify on this side. So now I'm going to wrap my right leg on top, thighs touch, and I drop my knees to the right. If you did the harder version, I'm going to leave the right leg on the floor, left leg goes straight up, and left leg drops over to the right. That is a full IT band stretch. Try to keep your knee nice and straight if you're doing this challenging version of this stretch. And I'm sure you can feel there's more going on than just a stretch. You got to work to get this one. There's work involved. Like I said, it's not always the really easy moves like glute squeezes and reverse presses that are going to help you. Sometimes the more challenging moves are what are going to give you the most benefit. Come back to the hook lying position, ladies and gentlemen. I'll pull my shirt up just a little bit so you newbies can see. We're going to do pelvic tilts. This is rocking the pelvis forward into the anterior tilt and tucking it under into the posterior tilt. Back and forth and rocking the pelvis. My lower portion is still touching the ground. This is not a bridge. Those are coming up, but not just yet. We've got full sit-ups to conquer. And I wasn't kidding when I said full sit-ups. So we're going to try and squeeze out 10 full sit-ups. These are really tough, so laugh when you do it. I haven't seen anybody able to do a full sit-up while keeping their feet on the floor. So just do what you can, but I do want you guys to try and get all the way up. I don't care if you even do this sitting in a chair. You can do this sitting in a chair, certainly. So we're going to keep the feet on the floor best you can, and you're going to try and get up there. I'm going to keep my hands behind my head and then watch how that fails, right? 10 full sit-ups. When I get to the top, I'm going to try to sit upright by using my pelvis. So I'm going to roll an arch into my lower back, and then my elbows come back, and then I'm going to come right back down again. Go for 10. It's almost impossible, right? Like your hands want to come off of your head and they want to reach forward to throw your weight forward and help your body achieve this, because we've fallen so far back in inability, in lack of function. Man, we stink. Thanks, TV and couches, right? The first one looked the best. It's not a bad idea. If you do have somebody with you, they can hold your feet. You can also tuck your feet underneath the couch, and you'll feel a lot more going on in your hips. I got one more here. Fantastic. Now we're moving into bridges, and we're going to touch on full sit-ups again after this. Bridges are when you lift your butt up off of the floor, ladies and gentlemen. So if you notice when you do your bridge, if your legs are either going out or diving in, take a pillow and put it between your knees. We want to keep bilateral or more bilateral means both sides. You want to keep it even and balanced. We want to recruit the muscles in both sides. And I don't want your legs diving in or going out. Also, if you have your heels too close to your butt, you're going to feel all of this in your thighs. So the way I like to prep myself for this is put myself into a 90-degree angle and then place my feet on the floor. So it's like a static back. And when you do that, you're going to feel, whoa, now my butt and the backs of my legs are doing the work. That's what we're going after. I don't care if you guys are doing this on a bed, on a couch. You can't get on the floor because you're afraid of the floor, or you know that you can't get up and you need help to get up. For now, just get it done. If you're sitting in a chair, you can definitely get this done. Put your feet on the floor and try and lift your butt up off of the chair without using your hands. That's all. I don't care if you ever get off of that chair. Just engage the muscles that will eventually get you there. So it's like a sit to stand. Hope you don't hate me. We're going right back into full sit-ups, everybody. Right back into full sit-ups. Okay, I'm gonna try and get this done with my hands behind my head. That's gonna look ugly, but laugh. It's okay, everybody, laugh. Now flop you guys over onto your belly. We're gonna do some Superman and starfish work. Superman and starfish. What is an easy way to show this? Oh, it's pretty simple. Superman is when the arms go straight out in front of you. But we're gonna leave the legs where they are, and we're gonna work with different arm positions while we stay in the Superman. So at one point, it's gonna look like a starfish, and then another point, it's gonna look like a locust for those of you that have done yoga before, so the arms are gonna come alongside. So Superman is with arms straight out in front, and then we're gonna change the arm position, and then we're gonna change it again. So there's our locust, here's our starfish, here's our Superman. Do what you can. We're only holding for a minute, but we're gonna change the position. Legs and arms lift, go, hold. Can't hold, then don't worry about it. Lift and then lower back down if you need a break. Let's bring the arms out to starfish. Bring the arms alongside for your locust. Bring the arms back out to starfish. And relax. Doesn't that feel good? I'm gonna have everybody come up. We're gonna stand. I'm gonna take you into extended lateral. Usually we've done a triangle in the past. This one is with a bent knee, a little different. I'm gonna come to a split leg pose. It's like the wide position in the windmills that we did. This one's going to look like one of your warrior poses, or warrior two. except you want to be really clean with it. So what I'm going to do is start out with my feet parallel. I'm going to work on my left foot. I'm going to point my left foot towards the wall. So it's now perpendicular to my right foot. So if I were to actually take a line and draw it backwards from my left heel, it would cut my right foot in half right at the arch. Try to keep your hips as balanced as they were when both of your feet were pointed straight ahead. This is the tough part of this move. I am going to bring my arms out to a T. That's not for everybody. So if that bothers you, put your hands on your hips, certainly able to do that. Now I'm going to make sure my knee tracks over my toes. I'm going to bend my left knee. If you notice your knee is coming out further than your toes, then you're not giving yourself enough credit. I want you to walk your left foot further away from you. So if you have that ability to do that, that's what you're going to do. Do not lean on your elbow, but I am going to lean my torso over to the left. This is what I don't want you to do. We want to keep the shoulders out of it and make sure the hips do their work. So I'm leaning over, and I actually get a chance to take a look at my left knee, how it tracks over my left toes. If my knee loves to dive in, I'm going to use my muscles to hold my knee in a beautiful, perfect line right over the second and third toe of my foot, right over the center. Same time, I'm going to keep drawing my right hip towards my imaginary wall. So everything really should be on the wall or imaginary wall. Come on out. We're going to go to the other side. I'm going to start out with my feet parallel. I'm going to point my right foot away from me. So that's perpendicular. And this one's called extended ladder. I'm going to bend my knee. And if I do find that I have that range of motion and I'm coming to this position, see how my knee is further than my ankle? I'm not giving myself enough credit. I'm going to walk my foot even further. You want to keep the knee right over the ankle or even behind the ankle if you're that tight. Here we go. Lean over. Take a look at your knee. Don't let that leg fall in. You don't want to lean on the integrity of the joint. You want to use the muscles so that your joints can get a break. It's their job to do their work, not become this integral lean on me set of tissues. I catch a lot of people doing that. Come on out. You're going to hate me. We're going to do push-ups. The way I've been doing push-ups, because I'm still working on the weakness in my left shoulder, is I'll either find a chair or my trusty window. If you like doing push-ups on the floor, normal, go for it. But I'm going to lean on my trusty window, or you could use your wall, can do that. So these are going to be incline push-ups. So I'm actually not on the floor for these because I'm really going to focus on keeping my arms in a beautiful form. Shoulders stay back and down. I'm going to come down as much as I can and then push myself back. I'm going to go for 10. So I'm actually going to lean on my window so I get a little bit more. I want to challenge myself a little more today. So I'm going to keep my shoulders pinned back and down. It's just like when we did our arm circles. I want to keep that and then lean in and push back. Thighs stay tight. I don't care if you do this on a chair, on a couch, on a table, on the floor. Maybe you're doing full-on push-ups. But what I want to do to help my shoulder is to go through the fullest range of motion. And I actually can't do that on the floor. It's way too hard. I get all the way down and then I can't get back up. So I'm doing an incline push-up so I can get that full range of motion and build back towards doing a real push-up. I just caught myself protracting my shoulders. So I was rounding through my shoulders on that. I'm just going to remind myself, keep my shoulders back and down. Wonderful. Ooh, excellent. I got a nice crack in my elbow. I'm going to take you guys into free squat. This is a nice, easy one, and we're going to have time to relax after this. It's like sitting in a chair that isn't there. It's the imaginary chair. It's different than an air bench because we're not going to use the wall. But I do want you to keep your feet hip distance apart and parallel. Knees must stay there too. Now, this is different than doing a yoga squat chair pose, Utkatasana, right? I don't want you to think about tucking under. That's a no-no in the Agascu style. You want to really focus on the hips. So actually, it's an anterior tilt if you can muster it. Shoulders stay back and down, and then you squat. If it's too much to keep your arms out in this Frankenstein monster position, go ahead and put your hands on your shoulders and draw your elbows back, or put your hands on your hips, or don't do it for so long. We only got 20 seconds left. We've only got 20 seconds left. Even less. You can do 8 seconds. You can do anything for 8 seconds. Suck it up, people. Stay in it. Just let it burn. Let it burn. Work it, work it, work it. Come on out. Oh, doesn't it feel so good? I want you guys to grab your chair or your ottoman, whatever you do for your static back position. If you're not getting on the floor with us, maybe you're laying in bed. Maybe you're piling up a bunch of pillows in bed. What we're going to do is trap the legs in a 90-degree angle in the knees and in the hips. This is our static back. And if you notice, I actually have a 2-inch riser on my ottoman, because when I do this, my heels actually drop lower than my knees. And then my legs kind of flop out. So it's not trapping my legs as well as it would if I had something a little bit higher. So what we really want to do is trap the legs in 90 degrees, no joke. I'm going to trap the legs so that they're about a fist distance apart. Even if you relax, settle, and fall asleep, the legs will still be trapped. If your head is in a position where you're actually looking behind you and your shoulders are rounded up off of the floor a bit, go ahead and put a pillow underneath your head. We want to keep the face pretty parallel to the ceiling. And if we lay here and the head is not parallel to the ceiling, you're going to start feeling tension in your neck. So we're going to avoid that. I leave my arms out to 45-degree angles from my hips and leave my palms up. I've noticed some people, they can't go palms up because their shoulders are in such a compromised position. Their palms just will not go up and they try to force it. If that's you, bring your arms out to a T, and then you'll find your palms will be able to relax up. We really don't want to force anything here. I'm so glad that everyone made it through with me and gave it their best. Even if you gave it your worst, you're still here. Good for you for challenging yourself. Your body's going to thank you for that. That's growth. We find growth among the challenge. And that's just how it is. That's life. That is life. And some of you have been patiently waiting for an additional class, and I have been offering it to you guys for a Thursday. That's the other day that I'm off. But a lot of you have mentioned you're not able to join me until closer towards the end of the month. So if you're not on my email list, get on it. Find my name at Gmail. Make sure you spell it right. My name, no spaces, at Gmail. Send me an email and I'll throw you on the list. I am so glad that the library has continued to support what I do, and that you guys have continued to support the library by asking for me to come back and joining me during these sessions. That's the only reason why I keep doing this. Otherwise, I probably have stopped doing this a while ago. This is my last remaining Egoscue classes with you guys. That's it. I just want to say thank you to the library and thank you to all of you. If this has helped you, and I know it has helped many of you, just share it with someone. Maybe you'll be able to point out, hey, you know what, you look like you need a static back. Friends and family, look at you. You look like you might need an air bench. Crazier things have happened. I'd love to leave you guys here, but I am actually going to give you one more move, and it's going to be a load-bearing move. I'm going to flip you guys over onto your hands and knees. If you don't want to do it with me, that's okay too. You can stay in the static back. But I feel like I need a static extension position. So I'm going to take that for those of you that want to come with me, keeping my voice low in case you guys have fallen asleep. That's okay too. So I'm going to come onto my hands and knees. You don't have to do this with me. I just feel like my body needs this right now. So I'm going to move my hands 6 inches forward. I start out with my hands under my shoulders and my knees under my hips. Put my palm where my fingertips are, palm where my fingertips are. Now I'm going to shift my weight forward so my shoulders are back in vertical line with my wrists. And now, just like in my cats and dogs, in that one position, I'm going to let my belly flop to the floor, let my shoulders come back and down, let my head dangle. Anybody seen the old Disney Ichabod crane? God, it's almost Halloween. I love that one. And that horse is really sway back. He looks like he's sleeping while he's walking. That's what you want to achieve here. So I don't want you to walk so far forward that this almost looks like a plank. That's a no-no. If that happens, your body's going to tell you. You're going to feel it in your back. It's not going to feel good. So if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't right. Don't mind me. I'm actually lifting up my right hand because I have an imbalance in my shoulders. My bones healed after a accident, and it has shortened my clavicle on the one side, so I have structural damage. So when I do this move, if I put extra surface area underneath my, an extra booster underneath my right hand, it actually evens out my back. And that's what we're going for. Bethany Hamilton, that wonderful surfer lady, she's missing her arm, shark attack. When she does this move, she has to prop her shoulder up onto an Egoscue block. Yes, she does Egoscue. I'm going to hold for 20 more seconds. If you guys are still with me, you can stay. If it's too much, just get out early. Elbows stay nice and straight, ladies and gentlemen. This is a move for your shoulders. Oh, that feels good. It's a move also for your hips. Reminding your hips how to load. Ooh, that's it. 2 minutes. I'm done. I'm through. I'm spent. I think I'll see you guys next week if you're around. It'd be nice if you joined me again. I look forward to it. If not, it's okay too. Have a great week.